Yo, what's up? What's up? Welcome to another episode of Proactive Pragmatism, where we continue on with our series, Millennials Are. Today, this guest that we're bringing on was the 2015 Southern Illinois Player of the Year, where he added a career high of 1,411 career points, which was eighth in school history. He was an all state senior there at Carbondale Community High School, and in college, he was the Geico Academic All American. Throughout his college career, this man averaged anywhere from 80 to 94% from the free throw line, graduating from Drury University with a degree in business marketing. Ladies and gentlemen, Alan Billinger. Yo, Alan, welcome to the show, my man. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Tommy, man. Appreciate you having me on the show.
Man, I appreciate having, a star from my hometown like that, come through the show, man. You've accomplished a lot lately. What's been going on lately in your life, though? I know you just finished up with college here.
Yeah, man. The next chapter, really the next chapter been going on in my life. It's school and basketball was a major part of my life. So now, no school, no basketball. What's next for Alan? So that's the stage I'm at right now, man.
Okay, that's rough, man. Because I feel like all the ball you've played all your life, like transitioning over, that has to be hard. Like, going from an athlete into sales. Like, what has that experience been like thus far?
Honestly, Tommy, it's been great. I'm an athletic background. You got to think, athletes were around, people like boosters for our school. We're around different coaches, different players, different personalities. We go on these different road trips. So, we really have a good, sense of kind of how to communicate different personalities. In high school, I always thought that sales could be a possible career option for me. Why did I think that? At the time, I really don't know.
Okay.
But, maybe it was something inside of me that just knew talking to people is something that, I could really relate with.
Oh, you was spitting that hot fire. That's what it was. You
Yeah.
like, okay, I can, you know what I'm saying? You can do that on the low.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I see. I saw your Instagram now. Actually, speaking of Instagram, you got this quote, don't chase money, chase value. Money will chase you. So what inspired you to put that quote up there? Because that's a big quote. A lot of people, they go chase the bread first,
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, man. So, like you said, going from college to, being in sales, I had to, change who I was connected with, network with people who, had same dreams, aspirations I had. You don't know everything. That's something I had to really hone in on. My pride and ego had to kind of diminish. You say everything I accomplished during high school, everything I accomplished academically, but in the next chapter of your life, none of that really matters, anymore. The next person who you meet, they don't know the Alan Billinger, the high school, player of the year. They don't know Alan Billinger, the All-American. So you kind of have to, you have the opportunity to recreate yourself. So I want to take the opportunity, seriously. And, I heard somebody who I'm close with, use that phrase before. So I won't sit here and say, it's an original phrase for me. But it did stand out, chasing money. That's the hungriness, the drive. But what is money ultimately? How do you ultimately get money? By adding value. So if you chase that value, money's going to come in abundance.
So at what point, so you said adding value. So at what point did you realize that you had to add value to get the money? Because there seems to be a disconnect. People want the money. Like, okay, for instance, I know this a little off tangent, but somebody got in my inbox and was like, you kind of a successful dude. What did you do? Tomorrow, they said tomorrow they want to start their own business. And I go, how many years have you worked in that industry? Mm-hmm. And they go, well, I drove a little bit. I'm like, and I told them, I was like, go put in 3 to 5 years and then come back. But they wasn't trying to hear that. They said, tomorrow I want to own my own business.
Yeah.
Like, so at what point did you realize it was value added? Because even watching your game, I never heard anything said badly about you. And the community that we come from, you can easily get bogged down into the drugs, into the, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, getting
Oh
caught up in
yeah.
the clubs and stuff like that, especially at a young age with your stardom.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and act like things weren't presented to me. That's
Mhm.
I'll be lying through my teeth if I said that. But my dad, once told me we had to talk before I went to high school. Something I live off of till this day is that it takes one thing that can ruin, your life. Uh, so he's repeat, something that is told if it's repeated to you all the time, it's either A, you didn't hear it the first time, or B, you need to hear it again. So he kept repeating this to me, so I'm like, okay, like it's drilled in my head now. It takes one time for me to mess up, my 12 years of work, my 13 years of work. So when I'm presented with these opportunities, or like the drugs and whatnot, I sit there and think, I contemplate, is this something I want to do? Is it worth me, messing up the last 16 years I put in my life academically and athletically? And the answer was always no.
So, okay, so you talked about the academic. So when it comes to academic side, right? So how do you balance? Because you kind of fresh. I see your gram, right? You kind of fresh on there. How did you balance being smart at the same time and still not distancing yourself from the, like the crowd? Like that, I feel like
Right.
that's hard to balance, right? Because it's like, I'm gonna go hit the books. I'm
Right.
trying to go to, because I saw that you had debated going, trying to go D1 or choosing, more academic in the full ride scholarship. What was that
Yeah.
like?
Man, honestly, that was one of the toughest decisions in my life at that time. Um, I mean, the status, like going D1, I mean, it holds weight. Going at a play at that's the highest level for basketball, at the college level. So it holds some weight, and I mean, it's so a testament of the work you put in. But knowing that that's not the only avenue for my life. Basketball only goes so far. I mean, you can say, I mean, look, LeBron James, he's 36, playing at a high level. Not too many 36-year-olds you see play at a high level. But eventually, maybe for Brown it's different, but Father Time is going to win eventually.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I know that I'm not LeBron James, I don't have the God-given athletic ability LeBron has. A lot of people don't. So knowing that, I have to go become educated, but that's something that Father Time can't defeat is education.
Okay. Okay. Actually, did you hear that LeBron actually just bought part of the Boston White Sox, Boston Red Sox? Yeah.
Really?
He
Nope, that's
just
news to
yeah.
me.
He's a part owner now. Yeah, I just
Golly,
saw that on Facebook. That's crazy.
he's
So
a
as much
businessman.
one of the greatest.
Yeah,
Like I don't
right.
know, Magic is in his ear because Magic started throwing in juice pops and stuff in the black community, and he
Hmm.
made black theaters back in the day. So
Okay.
that I mean that's pretty cool, man. Like y'all, athletics and smarts and brains they all go together. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. And like kind of, I mean, again, like going back to your question, like how to balance that, how do I balance that? I mean, I had some great friends. I mean, still have some great friends in my corner. I never changed. Growing up, I always was focused on my books at a young age. So my friends knew that about me, that they knew I took that seriously. So I'm grateful to have them, that they never really, forced me to do the stuff that, maybe they want to do or something like that. They knew my priorities and it was expressed. And then again, if I was still going, I wouldn't, dismiss them.
Yeah.
Yeah, never that. But we still, go hoop. Anytime they want to hoop, I was always down. So
You was at the
I,
spec.
at the
You
spec,
hooped
yeah,
at the spec.
the rec. You feel me, addicts. Where if we hooping, we hooping.
No, somebody gonna watch this podcast like, what is the spec?
Yeah,
I'm about to have Dre on here in a couple weeks, so
oh
it's gonna
yeah,
be interesting. Like I used to ball with him at the spec, even when we got heavy.
yeah.
We out there with man, you know what I'm saying, put in that work.
Hmm.
I'm like, I'm slow.
Absolutely.
I just rebound. Like my knees too old for all that.
Man, you're not concrete,
Um,
no joke.
nah, man. Speaking of ball and your transition through basketball.
Hmm.
So what happened that you moved from Missouri S&T to John A to Drury? I know that
Mm.
I know that might seem like a tough sore subject, but what was your journey like? Because I see the switch quite a bit.
Yeah. No, that's a good question, Tommy. So when I was a senior in high school, I mean, I had a big dream to go into one 4-year university, have my career be there, same as Carbondale High School. I want to submit myself into a 4-year university, but things happen. I definitely would say I was naive going into college. Missouri S&T, as you stated earlier, I went there. The priority was really for academics. I went there to be a mechanical engineer and also play basketball. And getting there, I mean, it's college, man. You get all this freedom. You on your time. Everything is on your time. So it was such a challenge for me. And this was my first real challenge. Honestly, in my opinion, handling high school basketball, high school academics, yes, it wasn't easy, but it wasn't like a challenge where it's overwhelming. My freshman year in college, handling some engineering classes in college basketball, that's where the challenge really hit me, and I had to face some true adversity. And honestly, I really couldn't handle that adversity at that age. 18, 19-year-old, fresh from high school, fresh from being kind of the top dog in sports, and you start back at the bottom of the totem pole. So that was definitely an eye opener for me. I got awake real quick. So I realized, I had to really sit down and reevaluate myself. Did I want to go be an engineer because it paid well, or did I actually want to be an engineer because that's something I really had a genuine interest in doing? And it really came down to it simply just paid well. And on top of that, I didn't like the way basketball was going at that school. So it was a decision I had to make to get out that situation.
Okay. So I see you went to John A. So why did you choose John A? It's a little mini mecca for basketball where we come from, though.
Man.
You've been John A. They might get you some new uniforms and some.
Yeah, John A's name holds weight.
Did you play for Smith Peters?
Yeah, Coach Kyle Smith Peters, absolutely.
I think I went to high school, or all of his brothers at Harrisburg, they all balled out. So I remember all the Smith Peters. What was it like playing for Coach Smith Peters? Because I remember as a baller, he was an interesting kid. They had some swagger, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he got some swagger as a coach.
Really? For real?
Coach Kyle got some swagger as a coach, man. Yeah, he probably one of the most respected coaches I ever had in my whole basketball career. I appreciate everything Coach Kyle did. I mean, the opportunity he gave me, he didn't – I think he wanted to recruit me out of high school. But again, naive, young. I'm looking at JUCO like, no, JUCO. I'm better than JUCO. Like, I'm not going the JUCO route.
I mean, you kind of did. You kind of had that going on. So I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, who is this kid coming? He's torching the crowds right now. I'm like, it's high school basketball. Alan, calm down, please.
Yeah, man, I love that, man. So yeah, honestly, that was my mindset. I'm like JUCO, and it was close to home. I'm like, no, this not it. This not it for me.
You wanted to get away.
I want to get away, man.
Why? Why do you want to get away from Carbondale? You keep it real on the pod, man. I left too. You see me, I joined the Army. Huh?
Yeah, man. I mean, I Carbondale, my hometown. I got much love for the Dale. Made me who I am. But I also knew there's so much more out there than Carbondale. I mean, it's so much more. We'll get into a little, but I just knew basketball. One of my old AAU coaches told me, don't let basketball use you, use basketball.
Okay.
And what he meant by that was, like, use basketball to get an education. Use basketball to travel. Use basketball to create relationships. Don't let basketball control your life. So I really took that to heart, and I've been blessed that basketball has, allowed me to travel. I've been to so many different states because of basketball. So many different connections because of basketball. You learn, character. Man, some of these characters have been built, through me playing basketball. So definitely grateful for that. And like you said, like going to John A. Logan, Coach Kyle, JUCO is two totally different routes from a university. Two totally different. So yeah, being at JUCO for a year definitely changed my perspective on, life in general, and then basketball for sure.
Okay. So what was the difference from the JUCO style of play than, like, per se, the Missouri S&T style of play? Because from my understanding, like, I see JUCO as a faster paced ball. Like, most of those cats is like they eating for D1. So that must be real different. Like, how is the style of play? How is it at that level?
Yeah. It's vastly different because you made a great point. It's the fact that each individual is fighting for a scholarship. So even though we got the same name in our jersey, If it's one coach in the stands, he can't offer all 12 of us a scholarship. So I mean, yes, we're teammates. Yes, we're trying to win together. Yes, but secretly in the back of our heads, we also know like it might be me or you for that scholarship. So I think that really comes down to how you see a faster style of play. You know, a lot of pushing, a lot of push the tempo, much a lot of more ISO basketball, and because you're trying to showcase, you know, what you're capable of doing. In regards to a four-year university where the system is submitted in, you know, we got players that stay here 4 years, 3 years. JUCO, it's a 2-year deal. So that's really one of the biggest differences. You know, at a 4-year school, you're trying to create a culture, and you're still trying to create a culture at JUCO, but the turnover rate is high. It's a high turnover rate at JUCO.
Ooh. Okay, so talking about that turnover rate, that has to be rough. Like, cause like, how many did you only spend a year at John A?
Yep. I was only 1 year at John A.
Okay, because I was about to say, if you spend more than a year there, like that has to be weird getting a whole new set of teammates.
Yeah.
Like that has to be complicated. And
Yeah.
I've seen JUCO take some of the greatest players I've ever seen. Like people, you know, you number 8th on the career shooting list. I done seen some guys that was, you know, I ain't gonna mention no names because I love those players' legacy as high school ballers.
Right.
But I see them out here in the streets in the club, and I'm like, oh. But also, there's a disconnect between high school academics and high school sports. Like, so you said your father was pivotal. What are some of the ins and outs that kind of pull high school players? Because I see a lot of cats come from Carbondale that don't really make it out. Are you willing to speak on kind of that dynamic there?
Yeah, no doubt. Like you said, I mean, when you go play basketball at the next level, I really don't care if it's NAIA, D3, JUCO, D1, whatever. If you go play basketball at the next level, you're not just gonna go play just based off your skill and talent. Like it's not gonna happen. You may have more leadway because you have more skill or talent than others, but ultimately a school is not gonna accept you unless you got the grade score. It's a headache for coaches. It's a headache for athletic directors if they have a player or multiple players who can't meet the academic criteria. So they'd rather use somebody else less talented, less athletic, who can do the grades. They can work with them on the basketball court. That's the easy part. You there, quote unquote, for basketball. That's what the scholarship for. That's the easy part. So with the academics, that's the part that I feel like is a challenge. Kind of where we from. It's not really too much of a focus. Like, kind of like you say. We have no problem hitting up somebody saying, let's go to the rec, let's go to the spec, let's go hoop. We have no problem doing that any time of day, any time of night. But it's nobody ever say, let's go to so-and-so house and let's go study this real quick. Let's go to the library and let's go study this real quick. Like I've never heard that. Never been asked. Never heard that ever. So I think that's where the disconnect is. It's nobody outside of school helping direct somewhere where it can be academically, productive.
Okay. So you basically said, I mean, you're also saying that on the high school level, the coach's hands are tied. Because I see a lot of people. I love Coach Miller to death, but I ain't never played for him. Right. But I see a lot of people on social media, like, because I throw out the little congratulations, coach, you did your thing. Like, I always thought you'd been an upstanding guy, but I know a lot of knuckleheads with talent come through, and they don't be in class. So that I'm like, hold on, bro, you was spitting game in the hallway, because one year I was the school photographer,
right?
And I used to actually ride on the bus with the coaches and everything. I used to eat the pizza and everything. I get on there.
Yeah, you was with
the pics. It was when
food.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I was like on the team. I mean, my last name Hamilton. Like I was related to Coach Ham. You know what I'm saying? In a roundabout way. Like we family, but we don't know how it's complicated.
Yeah, it's okay.
Here. You know what I'm saying? It's Carbondale. It's so small.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's how it is in Carbondale.
So it was cool. I was on the bus, but I watched people still be knuckleheads. I'm like, if you have this same demeanor, in the classroom, and they can only mitigate. The only way they mitigate the fights in the locker room is because you still playing ball and you want to play. But I've seen a lot of players throw their jerseys, walk out, forget that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like,
oh yeah.
But it's hard because they come from a place where they've been worshipped since middle school. Like even my little background, I actually played for CMS in middle school. Like I had a little jump shot out, but then I went to another town because I got in a fight in 8th grade. I got kicked off the team. I played ball there, but you know how Carbondale is. If you're not on the 8th grade system and you don't play their freshman year, you ain't getting you never getting on the team ever after that. No, it's not happening.
It's in-house.
Oh, 100%, man. If I could go back, I'll probably, you know what I'm saying? I want to just stay in freshman year, developed a little bit. But everybody got taller than me, so I never had a chance. So I'm like, oh, wrestling, football, that's gonna help me with my tackling. That's me over there, coach. You know what I'm saying? I still try it out though, Coach.
There you go,
Tommy. You might not want to buy these team shoes.
Just keep them off for next year.
Oh man, like it was facts. Because during trials, they're like, yeah, these are shoes we get. You know, I'm in there looking like, oh, we getting those, coach?
Right.
No, we not getting those. You the camera don't get shoes, you know, you
get food, that's enough.
You know what I'm saying? We feed you pizza, okay? You know what I'm saying? Oh man. So anyway, so we talked about college. So you went to Drury University. Was there still a change in dynamic from Missouri S&T, or was it like you sat back into the seat again and you could play ball and be yourself?
Nope, it was another change. So I don't know if you knew this, but Missouri S&T and Drury are in the same conference.
Oh, so okay. So you gave them that work?
Every time we played them, I circled the calendar big. Circle the calendar every time. Every time, I promise you. I promise. I kid you not. So S&T, when I played there my freshman year, I think we went 7-20. We didn't even win double-digit games. Didn't make the conference, not even the conference tournament. So, going from high school, my freshman year of high school, we weren't that good. We started 2 freshmen, 3 sophomores.
But you was on varsity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you cracked that line up, huh?
Yeah. We had a young team.
Most definitely. A crossover do it like.
Yeah, we were young, man. So I think that's because Todd Neal and them had graduated.
That's my boy.
Yeah,
man. He could slash any defense.
That's why I used to watch play. That's why I used to watch play in 8th grade. I used to watch him play.
He been like that since we was little.
Yeah, man. He always had it.
And he's always been a stand-up guy. Like he's always been the best, even amongst the older guys.
Right, exactly.
But he's always been so humble. Hey, Tommy, you good, bro? Everything good? You straight? You want this last slice of pizza? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly. Utmost respect. That's why I watched him. That's exactly why I watched him.
So solid.
Yeah. That's what you need. You need that in Carbondale now.
Man, that's rough.
Yeah.
And so you said you tried to go out there and drop that dub on him, huh?
Oh yeah, S&T. Yeah, every time. I went for 20 every time. Every time.
Man, because you were shooting at least like I looked at your stats. You were shooting over 40% from the three, which is that's pretty. People don't realize like that stat is pretty good. Because LeBron, he sit in the 40s. You know what I'm saying? Ish in that realm. You know what I'm saying? And people be like,
anytime you can shoot over like 38% from three, like they deem you a good shooter.
And a lot of people don't know that. Like a lot of people just be stat watching like 40%. Like I'm like, dog, you can't even dribble a ball. Like you know how hard it is to play at that level.
Man,
like people like y'all don't deserve any cash for playing. If you play D1, y'all don't deserve no money. Speak on that. That's what I want to hear you talk about.
You want me to speak on that, really?
How much bread you think you deserve as a college athlete playing for their entertainment? So they can have something to do on a Thursday night.
All right, let me break it down a little bit. So one of the biggest arguments on that why players don't get paid is that because we get paid a full ride scholarship, we get paid a full education. Okay, all right, I accept that. You're right. I don't have to pay for books. I don't pay for tuition. You're right. But with that being said, do you actually know what I do on a daily basis?
They don't.
Like, do you actually know I only get 1 week for Christmas break? Do you know I don't get a spring break? Do you know I don't get to go home for Thanksgiving? Do you know I'm at school over the summer? Like, do you know I'm waking up at 5:30 and then going to class and having weights and having practice and then have to finish the homework the same time you finish your homework, same deadline. Do you know that?
Preach.
So nobody ever speaks about none of that stuff. It's a job. It's a job. We should get paid. It's a job. If we don't show up, no scholarship.
Man.
Oh, we got a road game on Thursday and Saturday in Kentucky, and we in Missouri. Oh, we missing the whole week of school. Oh, you want us to come back and take a test? Oh, we take a test on the bus with no teacher? Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I guess we gotta do that too. Why we gotta focus for this game coming up that might be for first or second place in the conference? That's y'all want to watch.
Ain't got nobody to help y'all study.
The coach,
because the coach ain't doing economics.
Exact. Thank you. He don't got.
I've been in the classroom. That's weird. Like I always like when people start having that debate. See, I've gotten to the point. That's why I created a podcast, so I can go off on the podcast. Because people, when you start confronting them with truth, they start.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like
for real.
I was in ROTC in college.
Okay.
And the campus would use us as security for games and events and all types of stuff.
Right.
And then, and then we had to wake up at 05. We see the football and basketball players in there getting after it. Like when we had to stay for events, we would have to literally volunteer. The Army, this is how it worked.
Yeah, tell me.
They're like, oh yeah, we're looking for volunteers. But if they don't never see your face, you better volunteer.
Interesting. Huh.
Yeah, you better volunteer.
Yeah.
But you get voluntold. And if I volunteer you, you ain't gonna like what we gotta do.
You gotta get voluntold.
Like that's the name of the game. So I feel for y'all. Collegiate athletes would come to our class beat up. There was a guy that he was all-star, he was a popular running back, but I knew he wasn't gonna make the grades.
Right.
His mind just wasn't in it. And that's hard. You can tell. Yeah. Because he was plus Eastern was a party school. We called it Chuck Vegas. Carbondale. That's why I left Carbondale, because I live right down the street from campus. My dad would have killed me.
Man.
He would have choked me out.
Yeah, it'd been done, Gilio.
Yeah, we was right off of Glenview back in the day. So that must have. So okay, so let me ask you this. See, I know you got a little swag. I know you went out a little bit. How did you balance going out and then trying to go to classes?
Like in college?
Yeah.
Hoo-wee.
Because I feel like ain't it almost expected that y'all gonna be at the big parties?
We expected to be at the pregame, the big parties. We expected to be there. We definitely expected to be there.
Okay.
So it's a mental state.
Okay.
So we would. Again, it's a job. So you're gonna be on job day, game day. You prepare. That's your focus. So say we had a Saturday game at 3 p.m. So Friday night, I'm not going out. I'm not doing nothing. No drinking or none of that. I'm locking in for Saturday. Saturday at 5 p.m., 5:30. We free. We took care. We did our business. Sunday, usually recovery day. We don't have practice on Sundays. So Saturday night. I'm going out Saturday night.
Okay. All right.
Going to enjoy myself. I worked hard that week, so I'm going out for sure.
Okay. So you found a way to balance it. Because man, in ROTC, like by the time I had joined ROTC, I was already enlisted in the Army. Okay. So I enlisted, then I went to college, and then I went through the ROTC program, and that's how I started the path to becoming an officer. But we had cats. I knew they was up, because Snap had just become popular. So you see him on Snap and everything, just knocking it back, and I'm like, they show up at PT like, I'm like, pick your head up. Yeah. Okay. What we doing? Hey, take it easy on us today. I'm like 4 miles. It's my PT player.
See,
you know what I'm saying? 4 miles, push-ups, sit-ups, all that. And don't be on the Ranger Challenge team in college.
It's rough.
We was carrying logs and all types of crazy stuff.
See, that's different. I ain't gonna our off season we had to get up, but we wasn't carrying no logs or.
Nah. I know, but it's just the contrast to going out and I couldn't hang. Yeah. I've always been a realist.
Work. Right.
Yeah, I've always been pragmatic. I know my strengths and my weakness. I ain't gonna be able to get up for a couple of days.
Oh, now don't get me wrong. Now, my senior year, it was a couple times in the summertime where it's summer off season, so I'm trying to get in shape. Like once I get in shape during the season, I can go out.
Okay.
I'm good. It's a quicker, it's quicker for me to recover.
Okay.
But in the off season, while I'm trying to get in shape, that's where you feel me. I can't really do as much as I want to do. I ain't there yet. It's taking me a longer time to recover.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a ramp up. Like, so you kind of played it smart. Like, let me get in shape. Now I can start going out and start doing the things and balance that. Exactly. That kind of makes sense because I'm in a place in my life like that too. Like, I'm like, as long as I hit my workouts and as long as I'm getting to the gym, like the other time I can kind of within reason.
Yeah, within reason. Yes.
But a lot of people don't understand moderation. So that's kind of the hardest part. Like, you can have a good life, but you got to be willing to pay for it if you're going to do it in a not smart way. You know what I mean? So that's super interesting. So you got a degree in business marketing. How did you what made you jump from engineering to business marketing? And you can keep it 100. I mean, however it goes, because I went to school for industrial technology and I ended up with a communications degree. Like I love CAD, I loved all that, but it just ROTC was like graduated 3.5 years or 4.5 years, and I was like, yeah, hardcore 3.5 years, like a dummy. I should have took that 4.5.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
But no, you're right, bro. But that's the thing, though. Like, you feel me? At the age like that, we looking at just like the numbers that said. Let me speak for me. I wasn't thinking, such long term. When I was a freshman in college. So, but yeah, hit on your question. Engineering and basketball don't go together. They don't. So it was either, I stopped playing basketball and focus on engineering, or I continue to play basketball and get another field. Wow. I was not quitting basketball, so it made it easy.
Okay.
Because
you was just in engineering just for the bread.
Yeah,
I think you said it in the beginning. It was just bread, so it wasn't a passing or nothing. It was
not
just.
At all. I didn't take no engineering classes in high school, nothing like that.
You didn't?
No.
Man, I would have thought I was in the CAD and everything, and I still got there. And I was like,
bro, I didn't hear the word CAD until I got on campus of college. I didn't
Get
know what
out of
they
here!
stood for. I kid you not.
And Carbondale had a hell of a CAD program because it even transferred over to John A. Logan. Like if I would have went smart, I wish John A. Logan had a ROTC program. I just knew that I was going to do Army. So just like you, like I knew you like basketball or this.
Right.
I'm like, it's Army or this engineering degree. So I went Army. And I still in the end didn't really get what I wanted. Because I was supposed to go active duty. And then the government shut down. They didn't have no budget. So sophomore year, they sit me down, they're like, Tom, you gonna make this much on active duty as a second lieutenant, you're gonna be making all this bread. So I'm thinking, bread.
Yeah, say less.
Bread 4:30 in the morning, whatever,
yeah, right.
You know what I'm
I'm there. Yep, I'm there.
Boy, Lieutenant Colonel sat me down. He said, Tommy, pick a guard unit.
Oh.
I said, a what? A what? Because I didn't know that the guard offered scholarships prior. So if I would have declared guard at the beginning, I would have got a full ride scholarship. So now they telling me I don't have the means to pay for my degree.
Wow.
Because active duty, when I went on active duty, I would have made enough every year. Yeah, and I would have had it paid off in 2-3 years.
Wow, you were still on active duty.
Yeah. Wow. So I still got tuition and everything. But God works in amazing ways. Things just worked out for me. Like if it wasn't for that adversity, I wouldn't have had the last deployment I had. I wouldn't have had all these opportunities that I got. Like currently I'm trying to because I'm a chemical, biological, radioactive, nuclear officer, they offer a master's degree in weapons of mass destruction. And they also offer scholarships because we're Army officers. So I'm gonna shoot my shot at that, try to get my master's in that.
2-for-1.
And then I want, and I'm trying to get a BA. I might get a business, administration degree. So that way when I retire, I got a couple masters, maybe a PhD. It'll be beautiful. So that's what also I brought you on the podcast, because I'm like, hey, this person is a hooper. He's from my hometown and he's smart. You know what I mean? Yep. So that changes the game. But yeah, man, things didn't work out for me. Like you ask anybody, they don't even know what my track is. They don't know I got so disappointed. My first job actually was in sales, but I sold copiers.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Oh, it is because
Yeah,
how
I
many
ain't gonna
people looking
lie.
for a copier every day?
Yeah,
Hi,
that's what I was gonna say.
hi. Would you like to buy a Rico copier? Yes, this would be. And
Hey,
then,
okay, let me
and
ask
then I'm an
you.
African American in these small podunk towns, trying to
Yeah,
sell them a copier.
the math not adding up. Did you have a straight commission or they pay you salary too?
Okay, I can't lie. It was salary,
Okay.
but they hired me as a picker, and so they
Uh,
would have me go pick the places that other people couldn't crack. But like that would be great if I had 30 years in the sales industry.
right. It's some experience. They sent you
I'm
out
walking in
there.
here like, yeah, man, I got the Rico 3000, but we also sell document solutions. They was pushing that at the same time.
Oh,
So they pushing copiers and the sales solutions going digital at the same time
that's different. I would say that's different. That's why I'm gonna leave
to
that.
to
Let's
the
say that.
smallest churches in the world. You know, like I
Yeah.
went to a little church called Liberty Street in Murfreesboro. Like that's the type of joints I was going to. Oh yeah, would you like a copier or a Rico? Now we got this printer from Staples, dog. You,
We
I'm
good.
sorry, son, but
Yeah.
you gonna come to church on Sunday?
That's the
I,
one. That's the
I'm a
one.
member at
That's the one right there. That's the one. Oh
like you got to
shucks.
sit in the service just to get a conversation with the pastor.
Yeah.
Like,
If you leave early, you're not talking to them.
you know what I'm saying?
Oh
How did you
shucks.
get into automation sales? Like,
Okay.
how did that work out?
Yeah. So again, it's funny, like you said. I mean, how life works. Everything gets tied in. I feel like,
Okay.
I'm getting older, more mature. Everything from where I can remember is tying in to where I'm at right now in my life. So back to SMT. I had a 1 year background in engineering. So of course, I update my LinkedIn every year I was in college. So a recruiter had reached out to me in December 2019
Mm.
about the job in automation sales. So I was working at Pier One at the time. I just graduated college in May 2019. So I was starting to get my feet wet. What type of big boy job career am I going to get? So opportunity presented itself. It checked a lot of boxes. One of the biggest boxes is free relocation.
Mm.
That was huge.
Oh, you got free real?
Free relocation. That's how I'm employing Oregon right
Oh,
now. Yeah,
I
blessed,
should have went
man.
into something else sales. Copiers, it was like, we'll see you to Chicago for training for 3 days. I mean, the hotel was lavish. I actually met
Right.
the girl that became my girlfriend for a little while. She was from Poland. I met her while I was in Chicago.
You
You know what I'm
see?
saying? I stayed at the Hilton. So you go
Oh, yeah.
downstairs,
Yeah.
yeah, it was nice. It was
Yeah.
out in Rosemont.
Oh,
So they
yeah.
got foreign ladies all out there. So she,
Absolutely.
I'm like, what you doing after this? Oh, nothing.
Yeah.
Going to get some donuts. They love pastries. So I'm like,
uh,
we had that was that. But
yep.
carry on. I'm sidebar here.
You good. Um, so yeah, so I said automation sales. I said checked off the boxes like salary position, relocation anywhere I want to go. The kicker, I guess, the biggest kicker was I had to be 6 months training in Indianapolis
Ooh,
before I left. So that was starting to think about. But I'm like, if the company's going to invest 6 months training into me, uh, I feel like that's an opportunity I can't pass up.
that's huge.
Yeah,
Most
it's
companies
major.
don't invest that much training, and even if it
Exactly.
is, you got to do it online, and you don't really learn about the company.
And on top of that, Tommy, honestly, while I was in Indy, I didn't have to pay rent. They gave me full housing, so I got yeah. So I couldn't pass it. Like
Y'all
just like
hiring? Y'all hiring?
yeah, yeah,
Hey, FedEx. See, I love y'all, but
yeah, bro. I ain't gonna lie, it was definitely man. So I got to save for 6 months, and that was during COVID. So it was
same. So, that was wow.
January 2020 was
You
my
so
start
you
date.
really got blessed. Like everything really did connect
Yeah,
because
really.
the same thing happened with my deployment. I got deployed in January of last year. COVID
Okay.
wasn't. We ain't had no mask when we left.
Nope,
We ain't,
not at all.
so we over there, and I was telling my troops, I'm like, save the bag because when you get back, it's gonna be a totally different world. Like we over there watching everybody. Troops couldn't even manage the right way during COVID. You know, like you like split up, space out, get some space. You got generals over, you got lieutenant colonels over there just bebopping with specialists. They're like, sir, you know, like in my mind, I ain't saying to him, but that ain't, it's like, sir, I want to be like, but he had a lieutenant in his group, so I said something to him. I'm like, LT, you know we supposed to be spaced out here. They look at me crazy like,
you talking?
I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's hilarious.
You don't know I'm with the colonel right here? You know what I'm saying?
Like my man's.
But he the one that's told us we gotta space out. So like
crazy how it works.
Yeah, no, COVID was actually a big blessing for me and my family and everything else.
Wow.
Like we just been blessed. Like every, I didn't get the second couple stimuluses, but they're gonna be tax write-offs. Just so you know, you can write those off in your taxes if you ain't receive them. Just for all the listeners out there too.
Just for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. You can use the income credits later. I know you might not got the bag, but I'm like, but it was a blessing. I got to pay off like every piece of debt. Like, and I had a bunch of repos and a bunch of life has just been tough, man. And I got to pay off every piece of debt. Only thing I got left is student loans, and then I'm supposed to deploy next year, and student loans is deferred till September. So anybody that's playing it smart, they're technically getting in the system. It says they're making payments on their student loans. Yeah. So I'm like, you literally this year it's weird. Like if you're doing the right thing prior to some issue or something happening in society, it can be your biggest blessing. I don't know if you've ever studied sales and all that stuff, but a lot of great things that happen in business industries happen during like the downturn.
Bingo. Yeah. Side tangent too. If you did get your stimulus, invest it, please. You don't get this money often. Please invest the stimulus money, please.
Hey, this is gonna air on week 3, so hopefully they still got. But I also, that's the other thing though, is as a nation we don't really talk personal responsibility and personal accountability. Because they've been throwing money at poor communities for years, and people like me, like I made it out, like cool, I benefited, I'm grateful. Yeah, but like there is no like all the programs we used to have as kids, they don't even have a lot of those no more. I'm
sorry. It's sad. Like I have a business marketing degree, so I studied business for a solid 3 years. Mm-hmm. I didn't have the financial literacy that I've had in the past year that I got from 3 years. I think that's negative. I do.
Wow. Yeah, I really wow. Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the crazy part. When I talked about all that debt, if I would have known what I know now, like the only way that I learned was I literally typed into YouTube and I was like, how to get out of debt. And Dave Ramsey's video came across and he started yelling at me. And I was like, bro, who you yelling at? I know you ain't talking to me. I'm a lieutenant. I do this. I got bread and debt and repos and things I can't pay. Struggling on child support. You know
so I hear you talking to me.
and YouTube's algorithm is like, hey, Tommy, hi. Back again. Dave Ramsey here. Dave Ramsey here. You gonna listen? So I follow him on Instagram. I start my little emergency savings fund. And after I just got the amount for the savings fund, guess who came knocking? The United States government. Hey, we want you to deploy. Oh. And I was like, I think this is God. I think this is destiny. Whatever people believe in. Because it meant I had just enough to be able to get on that plane. Like literally the Friday that I found out I was deploying, that next Monday, I was out of here and on a plane to Texas to demob to Kuwait.
Wow. You can't make
but
that
I had to fund a lot of it myself because it was like, get here. You know what I mean? Obviously, it gets paid for on the back end. But if I didn't have it together at that time, I would have been hurt. You know what I'm saying? Struggling, asking Billy Joe, like my boss helped me out because I was down so bad that I was driving a FedEx truck home, bro.
Wow.
Like just to get groceries to get around, like to see my daughter, I had to get a rental. Like, I'm the type, I don't know if you saw my Instagram. I'm the type to get it regardless, but
100.
it was a struggle. It was a struggle. But that card no longer exists. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
I'm like, I made it happen. But yeah, that COVID and all that stuff. And it was just like, but we talked about how I didn't make active duty in college.
Right.
Like, I'm blessed that I didn't, because since I didn't, I've been to aviation units. I've been to cavalry units. I've been a part of all those types of units, and they made me the leader I am today. So when I deployed, I was able to talk different, speak with other people. Like my first unit I ever went to was an engineering unit. So I was able to talk to engineers about this different stuff. The majority of the lieutenants, even the ones that was on active duty that went chemical with me, a lot of them stayed in staff jobs because there aren't very many chemical companies on active duty. So literally, I could have ended up chemical on active duty and been miserable. But then I got the edge of all the experience.
See, I think that's so important of what you just did. I mean, your mindset on something that you thought you really wanted and something that you thought was going to be, for you deploying in college. But, kind of like I said, God kind of with mysterious ways, whatever you want to believe. It's really not on our time.
No, it never is.
It never is.
But you start sowing them seeds. Alan, I'm telling you, you start sowing them seeds. You start putting in the work. That's why I started just putting in the work. I'm like, what if you just, because you asked about the podcast, right? Yep. I was like, what if you just start vlogging? I heard Gary Vee, he was like, just start vlogging. So if you look at my YouTube channel, there's a bunch of old videos. You got me ranting. I was like 50 pounds fatter. Didn't really, I have a lot of experience, but I had some to talk crap.
Some, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I'm saying people out here lacking. I'm like, you don't even come to work, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Like, yeah.
Well, and at the time, I had made it. So I worked for Jimmy John's for a while, for about a year. And I was a training manager, and it got to a point, I was at a low point, and they had a bonus competition. And it was like, so it was like whoever does the before and after that looks the best, you get a bonus. But there was this person, shout out Ashley Buchanan, a really good friend of mine now, but I didn't like her back then because she would do 10 of them. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking I'll do 2, I might get the bonus because they look really great. But then I realized it's a numbers game. And then at that time I started listening to Eric Thomas. And E.T., he'd be like, you know what I'm saying? If you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, I'm like, I'm already not breathing because I can't balance my money. Like, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Might as well try to get some breath. You feel me? So I started doing 20. And then I started doing 50. And then I started doing 100.
Isn't it nuts that your mindset changed and your results changed?
Because I got tired. I got tired of losing. I don't like taking the L.
No, sir.
And Alan, here's the truth. I have never been the most talented person at anything. I've never been the smartest. But when I started being consistent, when I just started doing the work all the time, every day, I'm like, you know what? What if I go to work, I go give plasma, and I go to the gym? Because I was horrible at managing money at the time, right? Yeah. I'm like, I need extra bread. Right. And then, so once I was playing great offense, I was doing overtime, doing these things, but I was still behind on child support, stuff like that, because I didn't know how to manage my money.
That's good.
But once I started getting intentional about my bread, intentional about my actions and the things that I was doing on a consistent basis, that's when things started to change. Yeah. Yeah. And then you start to meet the people, like when I deployed, I met the people who was the smartest. I met the people that was the most talented. I met the people who they wanted to be chemical officers. And I started looking, I was like, what if you change your attitude a little bit? Because I had that go, that killer mentality, but that doesn't work well with everybody else. And I started using emotional intelligence to get to know the people. Yeah. And then somebody was like, you got a lot of charisma, right? And I was like, who, me? Like, I just work hard. You know what I'm saying? Right. Well, my boss, when I was with FedEx, he was like, if you smile that smile with them, you could probably get them to let you get these pickups earlier so you can leave town. Yeah. I'm like, okay. I'm like, Tommy, shut up, bite the bullet. So I went in there. I was like, hey, how y'all doing? Y'all good? Y'all doing all right? And it's a little, this a little podunk town. This Decatur. So
Yep.
they got the white folks with the old ladies. They say, "Oh, that chocolate man, he's smiling. He's got his muscles." You know what I'm saying? If you just muscles with the grumpiness, like, yeah, I'm just here to grab these packets.
Intimidating.
They're like, "Oh, he's so mean and so." You start, "Oh, hey, how's the kids? Oh, for real? Your daughter's still."
That's
Bro.
it.
Oh, you hungry? We got leftover food in the break room. If you want a snack, you need some water, you need some.
That's it.
It clicked. But when I went on active duty with the Army, it didn't really click like that. So I had to humble myself. And there was this chief, shout out to Chief, I ain't gonna say his name, but he was like, you know what? You need to learn how to be more of a chameleon. And I was like, but I went in there like, I was cool when I went in there.
Right.
And you know how. So he's like, no, that's not how you went in there. And talk to them. You was in there like this. And I was like, and here's the thing, is sometimes you don't realize the power of your composure, right?
Yeah.
So when you start changing your demeanor and you're like, you know what, hey, how you doing? You good? Everything okay? You doing okay today?
Right.
It feels like you're having a bad day. It seems like, and even if you're wrong, it can still crack that shell. And once I started doing that, more people were willing to do more for me, and I got to know other people. So you take that consistency, and the more you know other people, and they see you doing crazy stuff that the average person really doesn't do. Like, you can ask my troops. I would wake up at 3 in the morning, work out, and be in the office at 4 in the morning on the computer, just working on my stuff for the day. Because I knew the day was typically, it might end at 1900 if we weren't on mission. Okay. So I'm like, if I get in there early, I can save myself time. I can save myself food, you know what I'm saying? Because I do coffee in the morning for fasting. So I'm like, I fast to try to keep my weight down. Because the Army likes to stuff you with carbs. Like, you just, it's ridiculous. I mean, they want us to eat. I mean, we got to eat. I get it.
You got to
eat.
It's
like, the food, it ain't like American food over there. Like, you couldn't drink the water in Kuwait.
Ooh.
We had water bottles. Like, on mission, you had to have a case of water.
Case of water? God, yes. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's crazy out there. Yeah, but that was a blessing for me. Like you said, like we talked about, just stacking the cards in your favor.
Yeah.
And then you take that and you're polite. Like, you have a really good demeanor. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's certain people, it's funny. Blessings come in strange ways, because I see a lot of people on Facebook doing different things, and I just take a little bit from their playbook. I take a little bit from their playbook. I'm like, okay, they seem like they're more calm. So if I can be calm, be fit, and continue learning, reading books, I always listen to audiobooks. That's my thing. Because I fell out of love with hard copy when I was in grade school. Man, I was top AR. You know what I'm saying? They should have had a records for AR. Tommy would have had 1,411, you know what I'm saying?
Hey, you
AR points.
You a real one for that. You a real one for that.
And 75% of the time, I wasn't reading the whole book.
No.
Skim.
10 answers for 10 questions.
Oh, man. Man, it's been wonderful. So we talked about going into sales. So digital real estate, what is that?
That's a good question. So digital real estate, so I have some business partners of mine, and we use the e-commerce model and revenue sharing model to scale our digital real estate business. It's something I didn't know about until I actually moved to Indianapolis in January 2020. This comes with the financial literacy, portion of what we were talking about earlier. I knew when I got this career in sales automation, like, it was a good, stable career. But reading books, I learned that your career should fund what you do on the side.
That's deep. That's deep. That's deep. Because a lot of people, you know what, like, in the same position that I'm in, they would go full-time YouTube, try to do that.
Right.
And I was like, the beauty of it all, you just said it. The beauty of it all is if you have a good job already and it's not doing too well, the podcast and all that, you got to go away, you still got money in your pocket.
You have to have streams of income come in. If you got one stream of income, you're one stream away from having no income. That's scary. That is extremely scary. And COVID was a prime example for that. prime example. And so I really pray for all the families who were affected by this in a negative way. But I do hope it opened eyes to others that one stream income isn't enough.
No, it's not.
Yeah, especially if that stream of income is controlled by somebody else besides you. Now you're really in trouble.
Okay. So my question is what do you say to the people that like, I'm gonna just quit and go make this big money and be my own boss?
Mm-hmm.
So like, what's the difference between what you're saying right now and those that are just like, forget this job, I'm out, I'm gonna go do digital marketing?
Yeah, long-term mindset. You have to have the long-term mindset if you want to do something like that. So if you don't have, like you said, for example, you brought up Dave Ramsey. If you don't have that savings fund, if you don't have any savings or anything like that, then you're not ready to start. I mean, that's just point blank simple. You can't start something new because let's get real quick. A business. When I played basketball, you said some of my accolades. I got a full ride scholarship to 3 different schools. I didn't get all that by playing basketball for 2 years. I played basketball my whole life. It was a lifelong of work to get me, no debt out of college, to get full scholarship to 3 different schools. That it was a whole life of work. So if you're thinking you're gonna put 6 months into a side business or a side hustle and get results that you see other people have or results that you desire, I'm not gonna say it's not gonna work, but it's slim. It's slim.
Man,
so you wild. So you really gotta have that mindset of long term. Treat your business like a baby. Your first 2-3 years of a baby, they can't function for themselves. You got to take care of them. You got to feed them. You got to do everything for them. Same thing with the business. But when a kid gets 6, 7, 8, start leaving them at home by themselves. They can make some food by themselves. They can put themselves to bed. Same with a business. 6, 7, 8 years down the road, you don't got to do nothing with it. It's gonna take care of them.
Yeah, they get it them 10 years. They can, what I'm saying? Go ahead, do what they need to do.
Give them a car. Go ahead.
Just don't come in my house late. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. You feel me? That's it.
So no, that's real. I'm glad that you said that because a lot of people have this unrealistic view of what it takes to get to a certain point. Because if you ask a lot of people, see, the one of the major beauties about the military is you can get accolades along the way. But like in regular life, they don't really have accolades like that. And a lot of people don't realize, like, I've been working both at the same time. So I've been drilling, doing the military thing, which is like when when a commander's like, I need this by Friday, like even if you at work, you still got to make all those things happen by Friday. As the FedEx man, the bus driver, the whatever it is that you do full time, you've got to do that on top of that, which is beautiful though, because I can build 2 careers.
Right.
And they can flourish. But what most troops don't do is they don't balance both of them. They're like, I want to get out. And I'm like, get out for what? You didn't gave the military 8+ years and you telling me you can't do another 12 and you just turning a wrench? And
that's my thing, Tommy, too, right there, man. Like people give 8-10 years of being a bus driver for some company they don't care about, but won't give 8-10 years to their own business.
On the side.
I don't get it.
They can buy one bus.
They can buy one bus. I don't get it. I don't get it. You can have a whole bus company. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
But it's weird. You know what it comes down to, Alan? They don't want what they say they want. They don't want it.
Ooh.
They want the accolades. Like I don't do it. This podcast I started is because, and you asked about this, I started it because I saw a vision and I saw motivation and hustle in millennials. I saw them breaking the ice. I saw them being the backbone of this country. And I also saw people attach us to, avocado toast. Like I've never had avocado toast in my entire life.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
And so like they're not getting married because they're not buying homes because I'm like, we're also in a different economy. So let me start a podcast that's about the millennials. And like originally I had started a little team. We was gonna do a little thing.
Yeah.
But some of them had a problem because it said the Hungry Millennial Network. But the thing is that wasn't about me. That was about adding value. I can't be a network by myself. I just had a vision and I created a logo. And this was 3 to 5 years ago. Like the other day, one of my sergeants was like, man, we saw you got a whole day. Like they thought like literally a network had like created this. This is all me. And not in a cocky way.
No,
but it's all me to add value and bring y'all
yeah,
on here. This is about y'all. Like when I reached out to you, I was like, this is about you.
yeah. I
I
had
want to
the
get
whole
your story
the whole
because
time. Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
know that I'm fallible. Like I don't know everything, and the people don't either, because they just see
Mm.
what they see on social media. But if it look right, they gonna come. So I see you see I got the little background in the back and been working on some stuff.
No, really, man. I'm
Like
telling you. Like I said, time is the most valuable asset anybody has. So to give someone your time,
mhm.
it got to be worth the time,
Yeah,
especially for somebody as ambitious as we are. Like it
mhm.
got to be worth the time. So when
Yeah.
I seen you reached out to him, like okay, saw some stuff when your page. I'm like, oh yeah, like he's serious, like he legit. Like I would be honored to be on the podcast, no doubt. Um,
Now I appreciate you coming on because I know it was weird. Like it's like be on my podcast. What podcast? You know what I'm saying? Like,
right? Yeah,
and I hadn't really started the series yet, but
yeah,
like I was just needing a couple people to have faith in me because I was gonna feed the beast. And
oh
once
yeah,
I pitched what it was about, people was like,
hmm
"Oh yeah, yeah, most
no doubt.
definitely."
Yeah, no
So
doubt.
so I know you get this question probably being an athlete and everything. So how do you deal with being so entitled?
Mm, great question. Oh,
A
that's a great
millennial
question.
athlete, you got to be entitled to everything. Like, ain't no way you put in any type of work.
Yeah, that's a great question, man. Again, going back, I mean, like you said earlier, I said my dad was very pivotal in who I am, become as a man today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, every day, no matter if it was basketball, school, I leave the house, I come home, he always told me just go work hard, just go work
Mm.
hard.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and so, like I said, like the entitlement, yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna sit here and lie, but like in college, we got privileges. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, so, but how I really deal with it, just being grateful.
Okay.
The mindset and act of gratitude
Mm-hmm.
is the most important thing for me to dismiss the entitlement feeling or the entitlement title that athletes
Okay.
get. I
Okay.
can't speak for all athletes, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for me personally, it's the feeling of gratitude, just being grateful that I'm able to wake up. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
people don't even get a chance to wake up the next day. You got plans that people don't get a chance to wake up the next day. You know how grateful
Mm-hmm.
I am to wake up.
Man, I'm telling
Like
you,
like I got a whole day, a whole nother day.
a whole day is new, like
It's
fresh,
new.
like fresh. Like if I didn't get the workout in I wanted yesterday, tomorrow morning I'm gonna be up at 3:45 about to get this run in. You feel me?
It's like straight up, man. That's what I'm saying.
Like
Like I have another chance to read another page in another
people
book.
think I'm crazy because I tell them I'm like they complaining because they're like we got a lot of packages today. We have a lot of packages every day. You've had a lot of
Yeah, like,
packages for the past 3 years since I've known you.
like come
What has
on.
changed?
Yeah,
Except
come
for you not
on.
getting in on time to sort your truck.
Exactly. And that's what
And,
it comes
and once
down
I
to.
started doing that, my life changed. So I started talking nicer to him. So I got the pickups to leave early.
Yeah.
Then I was like, you know what, Tommy? What would happen if you got in early to talk to the loaders about how they load in your truck?
Try
I
it.
was like, hey, bruh, use the little that charisma goes along with. I'm like, hey, bruh, how have you been taught to load a truck? Because I've noticed that why makes people defensive. No matter how you say why, it makes you feel some type of way. It don't
Ooh.
matter if it's somebody that's higher up or lower. And there's a book. It's called Ego, Authority, Failure, and they
Okay.
talk about that in that book. It's an
Okay.
amazing book. It's about FBI agents. They started a group called the Black Swan Group, and they talk and do negotiations all the time. But I was like, how have you been taught this? And then you
Yeah,
can build that rapport. You can start to sense and you mirror what they're talking about.
absolutely.
And they're like, you know what? This guy actually cares about me. So guess what I'm gonna
Mm.
do? When he comes
Ooh.
in, I'm gonna make sure his packages is wherever he want them to. And then it got to a point where I wasn't saying that. He was like, "Hey, bro, this where you want it?" And he getting paid way less than I am, and everybody else's truck looking crazy because they just didn't have one conversation with him. And then he took ownership. There's another book, Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. You should check it out. But
Okay.
he took ownership of it, and he was leaving. And the new loader, he was like, "This is how Tommy likes his truck."
Ooh.
Tell me that ain't powerful.
It-
Because
from your
even if Tommy's
peers.
never there again,
That's how the
They
truck gonna be loaded.
learn. Yeah.
Yeah. Something Inky Johnson said. It's an Inky Johnson quote. As long as you make sure somebody else's life is all right, God will always make sure your life is all right. That's it.
Facts. Well,
That's it.
he was talking about how one time he was on the plane. I love Inky. He
Mm-hmm.
was talking about one time he was on the plane and it said, "Please leave it cleaner than what you found it
Yeah.
for the person coming behind you." And
Uh-huh.
that helped change my life. Like when I don't want to get up, I throw on some ink, and I'm like,
Man.
he talks. Man, every night when after practice, I used to ask my mom if I get in some extra drills. And
Ooh,
I'm like,
yeah.
Tommy, go get in them extra drills. One
That's
more rep.
it.
One
My
more
boy.
rep.
That
Oh,
bro, that's my daily motto. 1% better every day. That's it.
and even if you have a bad day and you don't get that workout in, you
Yep.
still got the next day to come back strong. But you done put
Exactly.
in months and years worth of work. So that 1-2 days don't even throw you off.
No,
And
Tommy,
people don't understand that. I'm
they
like, you
don't.
just got to start doing. They're like, I don't know what workouts to do. I'm like, Monday chest, Wednesday legs, Friday back. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Something. Just start, like you said. Just start.
and
That's
start
the
looking at
hardest
the
part.
weights. Just look at them. Go and look at them. Like
Mm-hmm.
I know that I'm such a fallible human being that I keep my gym bag packed. It's got my clamps for the bar. It's got my belt for the
Mm-hmm.
deadlift.
Yep.
My gym shoes. It's got my flat shoes for squats. It's got everything in it for
Uh-huh.
me to say yes. I made a
Mm.
video about that. People thought like, oh, he's talking about saying yes. I'm like, no, I have to say yes to myself all the time. Like I literally have this big thing of water that I
Huh.
fill every day, and I
Faithful.
pack a bunch of them in my bag to make sure I'm drinking water and stay hydrated because I know how
Mm.
much it means to my body. But you got to put those things in your path to breed success. That it just
Right.
don't happen all the time. Like I
Exactly.
hate working out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a love-hate relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, who wants to go through this every day? But like, I see
Right.
the results. I see how people greet me differently than when I was 50 pounds heavier.
Mm.
They treat you different, Alan.
Ooh.
When you fit, they treat you different. They
Okay.
talk to you nice.
But you know, it's another thing in that. Some people, they know what you had to do to get to where you at. They
Man.
respect that.
Well, you said that, and there was a thing at FedEx. So my boss, like, he wasn't my boss when I first started working with him. He was
Mm-hmm.
another driver, but he was the
Okay.
hardest working driver I ever seen. And some dude was like, "Oh man, you know they genetic." And he was Hispanic. So my boss is Hispanic. The dude was Hispanic, and he
Okay.
was like, "You know they just built differently than we are. You know
Mm.
that stigma that's attached to everything."
Yep.
It's like, no, like I got pictures of this dude sweating his butt off. Like he got a
Right.
picture of me
Really
just
grinding.
dripping in sweat. And in the pictures where I was heavy, I keep them on Facebook to remind myself.
Yeah.
Like when I don't feel like getting after it, I'm like,
Yeah.
dog, you got to this point.
Can
Like,
happen
and even
again.
in college, I never looked this great. So that's the craziest part. Like I
Yeah.
even look back then, like I've never been this fit in my entire life.
That's
But when
awesome.
I decided like I'm going to do it different and I'm just going to be consistent no matter what, and just come up with a plan. Even during COVID when we was deployed, they shut down all the gyms. So you hear excuse after excuse after excuse.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, one thing the Army taught me is I got push-ups, I got sit-ups, and I got my legs. So the maintenance guys was creating gym equipment. Like I got
Man.
stuff on my Instagram where I'm squatting like bars that was supposed to tow
Yeah.
bar from
Toe
like the
bar.
trucks. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
Like,
find a way.
and it's been
Find a
nothing but
way.
a blessing because my troops, guess what they was doing? And under their own fruition, they was getting after it.
Can I make a statement on that?
Go ahead, yeah, speak.
Um, a question for you: who do you think, or what group of people do you think is the hardest to lead?
What do you mean?
So, like, do you think it's hard to lead a group of people? Do you think it's hard to lead an individual? Do you think it's hardest to lead yourself?
I think it's harder to lead an individual.
Okay.
And why the reason why I say that is because typically when an individual comes to you for advice, they want a quick fix.
Hmm.
But if you're talking to a group, when you lead a one individual with a group, it starts to spread like wildfire because they can influence each other. One person in isolation is just like, he just said this to me and I don't know. And
Okay.
then I've got to baby that person. One thing, the thing is, as an officer, Like I have a platoon sergeant that takes care of the beans, bullets,
Okay.
and the logistics of taking care of the platoon, including me inside of it. But then there's me. I have to do the planning.
Gotcha.
So like literally the stuff that they see me do is because they just saw me doing it. So I have to consistently do it all the time because I don't see them all the time.
Okay.
So
You say what I
and
want
that's
you to
why I
say.
post on social media a lot. Go ahead,
Yeah.
keep going on.
No, you said because that's the money. You was already saying it. I think the hardest person to lead is yourself,
Yeah.
and you
Well,
just
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you just yeah.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. Because, but you don't realize the power of one person, yourself, doing the work. That's powerful. Like it's weird.
It
And
is. It
once you
is.
just, and it's also a sales mentality. Like I hate sales. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be honest with you.
Yeah.
I just hated like because if I don't believe in what I'm selling, I'm just trying to make this bread. That's the
I'm
hardest
with you.
part.
I'm
You got to
with
have that
you.
buy-in. And
I'm with you.
so I, it's a salesman. Like when I was hitting up people, once I just started, hey, how would you mind being a guest on my podcast? I'm just asking. And then it just started trickling. Like it just people just I don't know if you Napoleon Hill's what is it
Master Key to Riches, Think and Grow Rich.
Think and Grow Rich,
Uh-huh.
right? The mindset, right? Like I just once you start a vision and you start going,
Yeah.
like after I had already had y'all set up, like I've got 3 more interviews within the next 2 weeks set up. I did 2 this past week. People just keep coming and ideas keep coming. I'm like, they got a unique thing, they got a unique vision that I want to talk about. I want to get their story. And guess what? Getting your story and you seeing that story, most of my podcasts motivate me to keep going because I see the growth from back then. That's when you know you're doing something that you love and that you're passionate about, and it's like helping you heal and develop. When you look at your videos, and you're like, man, that dude was real lost, but he was onto something. Like I'm glad that I kind of kept going. Like I'm
Wow.
glad I laid a foundation because I didn't know StreamYard and all this stuff was gonna come out, like all these different technologies to do these
Yeah.
things. Like
Hey.
Alan, I took I went on a whim and took a graphic design class when I was in
Okay.
communications, but it helped me because my degree is in corporate communications, and for our capstone we had to start a couple businesses, like within the department, and try to sell to people in the department, and they picked what we were selling. So it was like to
Interesting.
hippies, to this,
Yeah.
to that. So I got to use my graphic design skills that I learned to be great over there. And
Yeah.
then that passion for speaking, I would reach out to other students like, hey, bro, like, how do you feel about this project? And they were detached completely. But sometimes just being a brother or just being an ROTC or just being
Yeah.
in like all these things that were spiraling around me that I just, okay, I'm just a part of this,
Uh-huh.
became talking points, bridge the gap.
Yeah. Bridge the
So
gap.
more
That's
people
good.
know me than I really even know them.
Hmm.
And so it's just amazing how all those things just come together and they're like, man, this is you have built something. Like Alan, if today was my last day,
Yeah.
I could go down and be like, I gave it all that I had to my daughter, to the people, to my troops, everybody.
Yeah.
And that's a legacy that I want to wake up and do every day. Delivering for FedEx is tough because you never know what you're gonna get. You get 150-pound packages.
Right.
And then I've been doing the job for a while. Like today, somebody had a family emergency, and it was like, Tommy, we're gonna take you over there. Can you run that route? I'm like, I got it, boss. But every time you say you got it, boss in the back of boss's head,
It's good.
he's talking about you.
It's so good,
He's
Tony.
vouching for you.
That's
A few
so
weeks
good.
ago, I got in an accident. I wrecked a truck, $8,000 worth of damage. Like, I it was me. I got to own it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
slipped and whatever. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do.
Right.
And it was hard because it was like, yeah, go be a runner. And a runner, I just helped deliver the packages.
Okay.
But I learned so much. And so little did I know 3 weeks later, I was going to get back in. It was vouching for me the whole time because I put in work for years. When it was negative 17 degrees outside,
Yeah.
Tommy was out there helping the boss and his son years ago. This is a foundation I laid years ago. and it's taken care of. Alan, I was in a position where I'm like, okay, I guess it's the end of it. You know, I'm like,
Yeah.
I guess it's God saying, hey, you got to walk away from this one.
Right.
But then Mercy said no, and
Ooh.
and it was like, and I was like,
Ooh.
I'm sitting there, and I'm like, he was like, I was going on military orders in 2 weeks. So like literally the time off that I would have had,
Yeah.
got off orders, came back, got back in the truck, like nothing ever happened. But I did
Man.
learn a lesson. I learned a bunch of lessons of how I was working, and times have
Absolutely.
changed. The routes have gotten better, you know, with
Right.
technology and stuff like that. So I don't have to run around and go crazy like I used to. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's just
That goes back to your statement earlier in our talk, man. Sowing those seeds.
yeah, and
Sowing
people
those
don't
seeds.
realize the seeds that you've sown in the background. I'm like, it's hard when your parents tell you that, oh, you come off as cocky and arrogant in your videos and stuff like that. I'm like, Dad, I'm the most humble person ever. Like, I would give the shirt off my back to any one of these people if they just talk
Actually.
to me.
Yeah.
But that fire, I can't help how the fire comes off.
Yeah. And
Like
please,
I would walk
yeah.
through, I would walk through the tactical operations center. Like I would walk through. It's like where we do all our work and stuff, like for
Right.
like planning missions and stuff. And they'd be like, "You walk like you about to kill somebody." And but I read this book. I read in a book a long time ago about Shaq. I think it was a documentary. His dad was a drill sergeant. His stepdad that stepped up.
Uh-huh.
He was a drill sergeant. He said, "Wherever you," it was either his mom or his dad. They said, "Wherever you go, walk with a sense of purpose." And I've always done that. And so it just that changed my life. And once you start getting in shape and doing that, but guess what? Guess who the troops follow? The
Man,
person that's
listen,
walking with confidence.
people gonna follow anybody who has a
When
mission,
you
who has
watch
a vision.
Denzel, how do he walk?
Bold.
Who don't like Denzel?
People who are intimidated.
You know what I'm saying? Like when these people, but they look up to these. You know what I'm saying? They're like, man,
Exactly. They praise
there's
them.
something about that person. And I'm
That's
like,
it.
if you walk inside your truth, and that is my truth. That is just I'm here to get after it. I know time is of the essence. So I'm like, you don't get a lot of time on this earth. You can make more money, but you can't make more time. So a lot of times in my phone, I literally have hour by hour, like how my day is going to go. If I know that I haven't wrapped my mind up around the next day, I plan it hour by hour. Like, look, hold on. I can almost pull this up. Like,
yeah,
like
that's
people think I'm like, I be making this stuff up. But like, I
reality.
literally have hours by hour, like what I'm going to do and how it's going to go down. Like, I got a bunch of them that just say 4 a.m. wake up. Look, this is one of them. It say 3 a.m. You probably can't even see it, but
no, I can see it.
3:30 a.m. wake. This is what time I'm gonna hit the gym. This is what time I'm gonna do that because I know I'm a human and I'm fallible, and I'll forget and I won't keep. You know, I won't stay to myself. But the iPhone technology has been the greatest thing to happen to millennials.
Oh,
and they don't even know it.
Don't even know it.
All this power. My smartphone, my watch, keep me off of my phone while I'm driving because they vibrate when you turn by turn.
AirPods. I got AirPods. I'm hands free. Everything. Hands free. Everything. Everything.
Work more efficient. You can read all the books you want.
Bro, you can read all the books you want.
It's unlimited out here. The books is even on YouTube. So tell me our generation ain't blessed. But that's why I see why people say they're entitled.
Yes,
and there are a lot of us out there that are entitled.
Yeah, let's not. Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and say no millennials aren't entitled. No, that's an absolute fact. Like with everything that we have and that previous generations didn't have. Oh yeah, the opportunity we have, I think personally is more opportunity than any other generation I've ever had. I really do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I really do.
Oh yeah, definitely. And that's why also people with, they talk about debt and stuff like that, like they want it all wiped out. And I'm like, dude, if they give you free, you're not gonna honor free. Nobody ever honors free.
You talking.
Like nobody ever honors free.
Free, anything free as it, like what's the value of free?
You ain't gonna do nothing with free, but use it like it's free.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever you buy with that free, whatever you get with that free, you're gonna treat it like it was free.
You know what I'm saying? Like play shoes. All right, well, Alan, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. I know I had you on here for a while. You got any other questions for me or anything, or before you leave, you got something to say?
No, man. No, I just hope everybody, continue to stay blessed, continue to have positive attitudes, positive mindsets. That it goes a long way. It goes a long way.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you, bro. Ladies and gentlemen, Alan Billinger.
Appreciate it, man.